In today's class, we want to actually treat JAMB chemistry, syllabus number 1, the very first topic in JAMB, right? Now, this is a topic, syllabus number 1, and these are the subtopics. Now, as you can see, we have separation of mixtures and purification of chemical substances, right? And then moving further, you can see pure and impure substance, right? But then you need to understand something, that anytime you hear the word substance in chemistry, your mind should actually relate immediately to matter. Substance, right, in chemistry can be referred to as matter. And of course, matter is anything that has mass and can occupy space. This is not the very first time you're hearing of matter. You've heard of matter in your secondary school as well as in your primary school. So anything that has mass and can occupy space is matter. Example is your stone, your water, and your gas. Right? Now you might want to ask, how is gas a matter? Gas occupies space and gas has weight. For example, if your gas cylinder that you use at home for cooking, if you run out of gas, if you carry the cylinder, it will actually feel light. But the moment you fill in the cylinder with a gas, it will actually become heavy, right? Or heavier. So we have 3 states of matter. Matter can either exist in solid form, liquid, or in a gaseous form. All right. So matter can be a solid, which is in the case of a stone. It can be liquid, which is in the case of water, or it can be gas, water vapor, and the rest of them. All right. So that is it. Now, remember I said, once you hear the word substance in chemistry, your mind should quickly relate to matter, because matter can as well be called a substance. All right. Don't forget that. Now, classifications of matter. Right? Matter can be classified as pure substance or impure substance. Okay. Now, that is actually where this topic is starting from. Why do we purify impure substances? Right? It's very simple. In pharmaceuticals, in food industries, some reactions can be carried out, and the main product, the intended products, might be mixed with something else that is not needed. So for us to actually get it out, we have to purify. Okay, so purification is actually what we're going to be talking about much later. But before we talk about purification, let's understand what are pure substances and what are impure substances. So I said pure substances are material that contains only one kind of particles, and they have a uniform composition throughout. Impure substances contain 2 or more different substances that are physically combined, not chemically combined, right? So we're going to be looking at into details what's pure substance, example of pure substances, or the classifications of pure substances, as well as impure substances. Okay. Now, pure substance are divided into elements and compound, whereas impure substance is actually mixture. Now we all know elements. Example of elements, we have elements, actually the first 20 elements, for example. Element can either be a metal, a non-metal, or a semi-metal. Right? We have the likes of hydrogen, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, etc. Now compounds are H2O, NaCl. Now let me try and explain, or let me try and define compound to us. Like I said, pure substance are material that contains only one kind of particles. Example of elements, we have this. An example of compound, we have this. Now, if you noticed, in compounds are basically substances that comprise of 2 or more elements combined in a fixed ratio or in a fixed proportion. Now, in the case of water, we have 2:1. In the case of NaCl, we have 1:1. The composition of this is actually constant. NaCl, which is our table salt that we use here in Nigeria, if you actually go to any part of the world, salt is salt, all right? And the composition of salt is 1:1, right? That of water is 2:1, okay? Now, mixture can either be homogeneous or heterogeneous. Now, what are homogeneous mixture? When they say homo simply means they do not have 2 separate phases. I'll give you an example so that you understand. If you mix kerosene and water, right, that is a mixture. But at the end of the day, you realize that they will not mix together. They are not mixable, right? So the kerosene will actually be at the top, whereas water will be at the bottom. So we have 2 layers. So we have heterogeneous. We have the water layer and we have the kerosene layer. right? Now in this case, now we call it hetero because the two components that made up the mixtures, they did not mix together, so therefore leading to two phases. But in a case where you have salt and water, if you add salt inside water, you realize that the salt mixes thoroughly with the water such that if you look very well, you will not see the salt particle. The salt has dissolved inside the water, so they now have one phase, right? So those are examples of homogeneous. So example, we have salt solution. Here we have sand and water, which I can say mud water, because if you look at mud water has a lot of particles inside of it, stones, paper, wood, so they do not form the same phase. They all actually separate. So the word homogeneous simply means, yes, two things or three things are coming together, but three of us, we are mixed up together such that there won't be any demarcation between each of us. But in the case of heterogeneous, we are coming together, but you can see a demarcation separating the two components that came together, right? So take note of this, that note, pure substances cannot be separated via physical means or physical methods. You cannot separate hydrogen from water. So we cannot separate the hydrogen and oxygen that makes up water via physical means. If you must do that, it has to be a chemical means. So in pure substances, you cannot separate pure substances using physical means or physical methods. Impure substances, yes, you can separate impure substances using physical means or physical methods, right? So take note of that. Now, I've explained to us what is impure and pure substances. Now let's talk about boiling and melting points quickly. Now, a layman understanding. Let's explain boiling before we add the point. So what is boiling? Boiling is a process where a liquid is converted to a vapor. That is, something is moving from liquid to gas. Gas is a vapor. So boiling is actually the process of changing a liquid substance to a gaseous substance in the form of a vapor. Now, what is now the boiling point? Boiling point is also known as boiling temperature. So this is actually the temperature at which a liquid starts changing to vapor, right? Boiling point is the temperature at which a liquid changes to vapor. For water, boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, your kettle, your jug, the water will start boiling, and before you know it, the liquid content of the water will start decreasing because it is now vaporizing and moving into vapor. If you continue boiling the water, you notice that with time, the quantity of the water reduces because the water is now changing its state from liquid to gas. So at that point in time, we call that boiling point. So boiling point is the temperature or the point at which a liquid changes to vapor or a gas. Now, what is melting point? Melting point is specifically for solid. So a melting point is basically the temperature at which a solid melts or converts to liquid. All of these are change of states. So for melting point, solid to liquid. Now, but why are they talking about melting and boiling point? Why is this particular topic so much important under this topic? I will explain. Now, the reason why they introduced boiling and melting points here is so that we can use it to understand better how pure and impure substance behaves. Now, please note this, that pure substances boils at we have melting point. Pure substances melts at a sharp temperature, whereas impure substances melt at a range. Now, this may not necessarily make sense to us, but take note of this. Let me explain. When they say sharp melting point, let's say I bring a solid that is pure. It does not have any impurity, right? Now, imagine that solid gets to 50 degrees and the temperature stops at 50 until all the solid has melted. In this case now, you cannot say this is a pure substance because it does not have a particular temperature at which the substance melted, right? Whereas in this case, this melted at a particular temperature. So in other words, how can we distinguish pure and impure substance using boiling and melting point? We now want to look at chemical and physical changes, right? Now remember I said that pure substances cannot be separated via physical means. Now I also told us that impure substances can be separated via physical means, right? So in other words, the changes that takes place when you form a mixture is not a chemical change but a physical change, because a physical change, something that is actually formed physically, right? The only method of separating it is physical method. You cannot form something physically and want to separate it chemically. No, chemically formed are chemically separated, physically formed are physically separated. All right, so we have two major characteristics of these changes. For chemical change, we said new substances are formed in chemical changes. That means if I bring two things together to form a particular substance chemically, the new substance that is formed will no longer be the same like the initial ones before it combines together. Let's say, for example, I bring A plus B to form C. This C that is formed will be chemically different from each of them. In other words, this C can never be A and B again. You have actually converted it to this. So in chemical change, new substances are formed and they are irreversible, right? Also, another example, if you actually burn firewood, the moment you burn firewood, it's no longer going to be a wood. It changes to charcoal or changes to ashes. You can never turn charcoal back to wood. It's not possible. And that process is irreversible. All right? Now we have the next one. Physical changes. Now, in physical change, no new substance are formed. If you bring sand and you bring water, and you pour sand inside water, you realize that nothing is going to happen. The water will stay one side and the sand will stay one side. So in this case now, no new substance is formed. You can still see your water, you can still see your sand. And that process is reversible because you can remove the water and the sand will go back to where it was. And that is why we said in impure substances, the means in which you can separate impure substances is through physical means, whereas in pure substances, the means in which you can separate pure substances is not by physical means, but instead by chemical means. So having said this, I'd like us to know that chemical changes is actually specifically related to pure substances, whereas physical changes are clearly related to impure substances.